Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video tutorial. This will be bot number 35 of opening Tabia from the book by Grandmaster Zhang and Master Wenqing. Today this will be the last bot in discussing the high chariot to protect horse variation. So without further ado, let us begin. Central cannon, pawn rank chariot, screen horse defense. Red chooses the 7th pawn. Black counters likewise, and red goes for the pawn rank chariot from the foul chariot position. Black offers a trade-off material. Red refuses, and black chooses to protect the horse in this manner. And in today's variation, we will be discussing c8 equals to 6, whereby red adopts the 5-6 cannons formation. Previously, discussions were made about h8 plus 7 and c8 equals to 7. Now, when one employs the 5-6 cannons, it will usually slow the pace of the game or attack considerably, but in compensation, red would have a very formidable defense that the enemy would have trouble trying to break through. Also, with the 5-6 cannons, red would now threaten to play c6 plus 5 if this cannon were not over here. And as red chose a steadfast or slow approach to the game, black could counter in several ways. This would also be the position of discussion for this bot. Now, there are two main variations. The first will be black playing r1 plus 1, which is a commonly used counter against the 5-6 cannons or the pal corner cannon. In variation B, c2 minus 1 is played, whereby black could still go on to attack. So, let us go to variation A. r1 plus 1. Red develops a horse as a proper horse. r1 equals to 4 to prevent red from playing h7 plus 6. Red protects the cannon, and black starts his counter with c2 plus 4. Now, with c2 plus 4, this cannon can play c2 equals to 3 to block the horse, and more importantly, to play c2 equals to 7 to threaten a checkmate and thus capture the chariot. So this would force red to play p3 plus 1, which is a sound move. Now, if red chose to move his chariot to capture the pawn, black would immediately play e7 plus 5 to dislodge the chariot. Now, in this manner, red would have lost some tempo in the process because the chariot would have advanced, retreated, and advanced again. And now, because e7 plus 5 had been played, black could retreat his cannon to the bottom rank and start his counter, preparing to play c9 equals to 7 to attack this very fragile or very weak file of reds. So that is why r3 minus 1 is not a good idea, and p3 plus 1 would be a better move, because with p3 plus 1 the horse would also get the development. p7 plus 1, red chooses to play r9 equals to 8, and red will play c2 equals to 3 to inhibit the development of the red horse. If he captured the cannon, hoping to attack, hoping to play c9 equals to 7 or advance to the bottom rank, red would gladly trade material, and after trading material, because the chariot had now retreated to the riverbank in time, red could be prepared to play h7 plus 6 to attack the chariot, and he would have the initiative. As for black, because of the presence of the chariot over here, he would have a hard time trying to mount a formidable defense for the time being. So, red will capture the pawn, and black will continue his attack on this file. e3 plus 1, a prophylactic move, and red would have a slight advantage at this point in time. So this would be variation A. Now let us go to variation B, whereby black retreats the cannon as planned, hoping to traverse the cannon across the board and concentrate his forces to attack this weak flank, relatively weak flank of Red's. Red would play h8+7 to develop his left flank. Now, would it be a good idea to play c6+5? The answer would be no, because Black would be more than happy to trade material, and after trading material, he would have started a counter on this flank. So Red could easily lose his lead. So h8+7 is a good idea. Black continues with c2=7, forcing the chariot away. And this is a commonly used counter whereby Black would play h7+8, threatening to push the pawn forward to attack the chariot, and also to prevent c6+5 from happening. So it was advised that Red play h7+6 to attack the central file, because at this point in time this pawn is very fragile. The Red would have a central cannon, and the Black had not upped his defenses on the central file yet. Now, would it be a good idea to play r9+1, hoping to traverse the chariot over here to lend support to the attack and to provide some defense? The answer would be no. Now, this variation was encountered in the previous bout whereby Red adopted the 5-7 cannons. If Red did play r9+1, Black would continue his attack with p7+1, threatening to capture the chariot. The chariot will have to move. Let's say if Black tried to play r9 to pin, after capturing another trade of material, Black would gain a chariot in the process. So Red would have to move. It would be wiser for Red to advance the chariot. Black would capture the pawn, attack the elephant, forcing it to move, and then traverse the board, threatening to gain material. And Black's formation is very comfortable and open. Red would not have gained anything for his efforts. So h7+6 is advocated, whereby Red would choose to target the central pawn instead and try to mount an offensive on the central file. Black advances the pawn, captures, and after Black defends with a4+5, hoping to play e3+5 again and develop his chariot r1=4, because Red will probably be faster in developing r9=8. So each color will have its scruples, and but Black will still have a playable game. As can be seen, the pace of attack for Red's attack is a little bit slow, but his defense is formidable. So let us review this board from the eyes of Black. Central cannon, screen house defense, and high chariot to protect house variation. Again, this will be the topic of discussion, whereby Red would attack with the 5-6 cannons for a slow but steadfast approach to the game. r1+1, variation A, c2-1, variation B. Red plays h8+7, r1=4 to prevent the horse from jumping to the riverbank. a6+5, Red tries to counter. This is a commonly used tactic whereby Black would threaten to play c2=7 to threaten to checkmate and thus capture the chariot. b3+1, good idea. r3-1, not a good idea, because Red would steal the tempo or the initiative by playing e7+5 for defense and retreating the cannon, preparing to play c9=7 to attack this file. 7+1. Red moves the chariot. Black moves the cannon to safety. c2=9 is not a good idea, because Red would gladly trade material, and since the cannon was here, the threat of Black using the cannon to attack the file in this manner would now be impossible. r3-2, Red would have the initiative, because after retreating, he could now prepare to play h7+6 to dislodge the Black chariot. 3-2. Prophylactic measure. Red would have the slight advantage. Variation B, C2 minus 1. Red goes to develop his left flank. C6 minus 5 would not be a good idea because black would be prepared to trade chariots. C2 goes to 7, R3 plus 4. Red tries to attack the central file. R9 plus 1 is not a good idea because after to and fro approach, black would have a very comfortable position. P7 plus 1 captures the pawn, attacks the elephant. Plus 1, A4 plus 5, and R9 equals to 8. Both colors will have their scruples, and black can be satisfied with this outcome. So this would mark the end of this board on this opening variation in particular. So I hope you've enjoyed this series of videos. Again, I must remind the viewer that the high chariot to protect horse variation is not so commonly seen nowadays because the pace of attack or the pace of counter attack is too slow. Now usually black would counter with the edge cannon for chariot exchange variation, whereby c9 minus 1 is played instead of r8 plus 2. This is one of the biggest and most commonly played opening system in Xiangqi today, the edge cannon for chariot defense. So I hope you've enjoyed this short video. If you like the work that I've been doing, please do subscribe to my channel and give this video a like. Thank you.